Welcome to the Kids Table, where the conversation is about fitness, but the maturity level is questionable.
The one and only Gunnar Peterson.
Then you've got Luke Milton, and then there's me.
Weird if you do your own intro. Ladies and gentlemen, Jen Widerstrom.
So pull up a chair as we talk fitness, the business of fitness, and give a voice to trainers everywhere.
It's informative, it's inspiring, it's where everybody wants to be. This is the Kids Table.
Today's episode is powered by YETI.
So we have some coaches that wanted to call in and ask you questions today.
Sure.
while we had you cornered. And the first being Justin Todd. He's been holding, and he works with a lot of youth, a lot of high school players.
He owns a gym here in Nashville. I met him before he owned his gym. Great dude.
Gunnar was just starting to compliment you. I said, hold it, because I want to make sure you get to hear it. So just for everyone listening, this is Justin Todd. He's the founder of Athlos right here in Nashville, Tennessee. He has a personal training and sports performance facility, working with youth. We talked about high school, pros as well, Gunnar was mentioning. And you're here. We're so excited to talk to you, man.
Yeah, so super excited for you guys having me on.
Dude, Justin, it's Gunnar. I'm so glad you called in. I just was telling these guys, I met him before he had his own gym, when he was at another spot, then he did his own gym, now bigger space, and he's growing. And he's like, to me, all the things that the industry should grow into. It's the kind of, I don't want to say trainer, because to me that minimizes it for a lot of people. I like being called that, but others want a more glossy title. But he's all the things that the training industry should be and should strive to be. He's just doing all the right things and doesn't have any problem putting the work in, which I love. He's not looking to cut corners. So it's the kind of guy who you want on this podcast. We're honored to have you, dude. Very cool you called in.
Yeah, Justin, it's Luke. I just want to reiterate what Gunnar said, mate. Everyone speaks so highly of you. So congrats on everything, and shoot away, bud.
Yeah, Cal's sitting here too.
Yeah,
he's just smiling.
Pleasure.
Hey, great to see you guys. Man, just really humbled and honored to be on here. Cal, obviously a bunch of people know you from obviously the incredible work that you've done at Minnesota, obviously in USA Olympic lifting. But what I found out, man, is that you are in the Hall of Fame at University of Findlay for 3-time national championship, 2 in football, 1 in wrestling. So, I mean, from a former athlete, super stoked to talk to you. One of the things that I wanted to say, being in the private sector, I play the support to the support. And so I know that they're getting a lot of the big rocks covered with the coaches at their schools. One thing that I try to do is reach out to that coach, so that way I can see what they want done. For you, Cal, being the main strength coach, how would you want those private sector coaches to go about working with your athletes?
Yeah, usually, and I'm open, right? So I hope that they're open to talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, that's always the real struggle, right? Because there's so many lines drawn in this industry, and well, what I'm providing is enough. Well, you know what? You can't provide everything when you got 25 people staring at you. You know what I mean? You just can't always do it. So I'll try to, the extra stuff. And all I'm trying to do is, when you reach out, I think, just say, hey, I'm trying to work on his weakest links. Is there anything that we can do that you can't? Just have an open door. But again, it's really hard, because many of these people, it's their narrow-mindedness. And hopefully they listen to this podcast and realize that, right? Like, that's what we're gunning for, is that we can change the framework of the, hey, just because you don't know everything doesn't mean that you're not smart, or you're not appropriately coaching somebody.
It's what I tell my kids. I go, it's not that I'm smarter than you. I'm just older. I've just seen it. Like, it's not, if we're watching a movie together and I go, oh, yeah, that guy's a bad guy, it doesn't mean I'm divining that and I'm such a genius. I've seen the movie, guys. Like, literally and figuratively seen the movie.
That's actually a really great way to put it. You're like, oh, that guy, I don't trust that guy. I know what this feels like.
You're right.
Yeah,
but they're plenty smart. They just haven't had the exposure, the experience that we've had.
Yeah, and from your perspective, you're passionate and willing to learn, and even maybe communicate back to coach, hey coach, when he does certain things, I've seen this, so I'm working on this, just to give you a heads up. Send the video of maybe the exercise, and then maybe that coach is even opens up, hey, can I come over and watch your program and see what you're doing, and maybe you can help us a little, you know what I mean, something, it's just, I think it's always a lack of communication and willingness to share will shut somebody down very, very quickly, and then, because you don't want that, you don't want anybody bad mouthing you when they actually don't know anything about what you do. Let's be honest, right?
Sure.
And that's the nature. Unfortunately, it's the nature of this profession.
Yeah.
It's really disturbing. So, that's And then, if you're just filling in the gaps, I call it like filling in the gaps. I definitely do a lot of assessments for that because I'll assess my own athletes and fill in the gaps. So actually, when I build a program, I actually measure them, and then I just find their weakest link. And what I've found is that if I get their weakest link better, I don't even have to train the genetic qualities that they're really good at. They actually just keep getting better. So really, when you're looking at genetic link, it would be a rate limiter, right? So I find the rate limiter, whatever it may be. It could be their foot. It could be something simple as that. And then I get that foot strong, which I think is a big problem, right? I do plunges of spring ankles and exercises.
I was telling Luke about this. I'm like, there's a tool.
Yeah.
Like, I think Wellborn sold you out bought you all your foot tools.
Yeah, right. And the thing about the foot is, I think we're doing, honestly, I don't think society does our foot any favors, obviously, right? But if you think about it, if we were in nature running around, we wouldn't get this strong. Like, our hips and knees wouldn't get that strong. Yep. So then I think we making our hips and knees so strong that our foot needs really specialized training to support the power of the hip and knee. Because you see what I mean? So like let's say, for example, if the foot's weak and you do the spring, I've had coaches email me in high school. They said, Cal, we started your spring ankle, and we had some guys put 4 to 6 inches on in 3 weeks. Like, how is that possible? I'm like, you had already done a year's worth of work making the hip and knee ready to go. You just didn't take the governor off. It was like a race car with slick tires because that foot was weak. And then the brain goes, I'm not going to let your hip and knee display all the power that you've planned for them when they're running or jumping, right? So you could have a lot of power when you squat because your foot's stable, right? And in the heels down. But when you go to run or jump, you get up on that calf, the brain goes, no. Because your foot's not strong enough, I'm going to down-regulate because the knee and the hip, because you made it really strong and it's not. So those coaches just got the foot strong really fast, and then they just unlocked all their power. They already had it. It's just, you've already done the work. Why not just optimize it? Because there's one weak link. And that's why I like working that rate limiter. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And I'm always looking for that weak link because I think that's where we get injured a lot, right? That weak link.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you, I find, so I put guys either, heck, on a sled push, I can really see a lot of weak links there, but then even in a sprint, do you have specific tests that you like going towards?
So my screening tool is sprinting, and that takes a long time, in my opinion, right? So if I see somebody running with their arm out, and let's say it's the elbow sneaks way out compared to the other elbow, I know that if it's the right elbow, then the left foot is unstable. Why does that happen? Because when the left foot strikes the ground, the foot's the only thing that touches the earth when we run, right? So the brain goes, I'm going to move my left arm out or my right arm out when the left foot hits the ground because that foot doesn't stabilize me. So the brain moves the arm out to stabilize the arm. And then, so a lot of coaches will go, I'm going to have them put their arm in. So wait a minute. The brain's saying I need the arm out, but I'm smarter than the brain? No, we're not, right? So when people see one of my guys running with their arm out, they'll know, like, I'm going to make sure he gets extra footwork, but we're already probably doing it, right? Or there's probably, if it happens one day to the next, it might be a bone that's out of place. Or he was playing softball last night and he got his foot stepped on, and literally I've seen it. The arm sneaks out the next day when they're running.
Wow.
But it's just, so here's my thing. I don't coach every running flaw because I know my program, I think, will fix it. So don't coach everything because I believe that brain puts the arm out to protect the body, to stabilize it. So that took me a while. That was 20 years before I figured that one out, right?
Which is, by the way, nice to hear you say. Like, it's not an overnight. It's like you took that time.
Where I'm at now, where I was 20 years ago, is a completely different place, but I still have the same passion to get better, right? So that's the hope, so that we can just keep learning and trading and, and good, just good idea information, and then put it away, write it down, and however you got to process it. And then, but I can remember there's been some things that I learned like 20 years ago. I'm like, I recalled it back into my stuff, right? Because I'm like, there it is. Now it's time to apply it. Yeah, right? I mean, there's some magic out there.
Amazing.
Or there's some stuff you learn at some point and you go, I got that. I've locked that principle in, and then, but you didn't really, you locked the theory of it in. And then later you do something that connects you back to it and you go, now I see why. and now I understand how to apply it. I just look at certain.
Yeah, when I first started using bands with squats and bench, and then I was like in the loading model there, right? So then I was like, And then like when I really ironed out my loading model like 7-8 years later, I was like, oh, this makes sense. And in the bands, and even the chains, right? I love them and how I place them in the different, like isometric or eccentrics. But at first I didn't know if the chains worked. My athletes loved the sound of them, and they were cool, and they trained hard,
Yeah,
right? They were cool, man.
Anybody who's listening, then I did them because they look old. Bullshit. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Right.
But like you said, I can see a bad foot on the leg sled, right? When they're if I see a bad foot on, like say when they're pushing under load, that instantly tells me they got to do a little bit more work, or they got an injury, or they got a problem that you just got to address and talk to them. Then you got to talk to them, right? So, hey, you've been fine all summer, and now that foot doesn't look good. What happened? Well, I rolled it, on Friday last week. Oh, okay, now it's Monday. So now you got to watch that foot to make sure it gets better.
Yeah.
Right? Because what will happen, in my opinion, it might sneak up to a lower hamstring pull. You know what I mean? It could sneak up to tendonitis if the foot doesn't get better.
Amazing.
It's just a lot of variables. It's our body's magic, and the magic, I just realized I don't know anything about it, right? Somebody just asked me, like, how, they said, the lady was like, you seem humble for everything that you know. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like I know anything, you know what I mean? And, my nutritionist was like, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I read maybe 700-800 books in nutrition, but, I don't know a whole lot yet. I'm like, nutrition's very complex.
Yeah.
Right? Very complex. So,
well, it's like the more you know, the more you realize there is to know.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're someone who's aware.
Yeah.
There's so many who read the books, whether it's 7 or 700, and they just automatically anoint themselves the expert, and they shut off their learning. And this, I say to people, like, you can learn stuff. Last time my wife and I with the kids at dinner, we learned something about fried eggs. We were out to breakfast, and the lady goes, sunny side up. My wife goes, over easy, but not too runny. And she goes, over hard. And I was like, that has to be a made up term. Have you ever heard over hard on an egg?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you have?
Have you heard over medium?
Yeah.
Heard that one.
I've only heard sunny side up and over easy. And my wife looked it up. There's sunny side up, over easy. I would say over easy, but not too runny. Well, I should have said over medium.
You should have said over medium.
Or there's over hard. And I thought my wife
Which
looked
over
it up.
hard means they're all cooked through.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously it makes sense when you say it, but I didn't know those were all real terms. And my kids were looking at us like, how did you not know that? Like, you're supposed to know everything. I'm like, no, dude, I know nothing. I'm learning every day.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm hearing this from Cal. You're like, hey, the right arm sticks out. You got a bad left foot.
I know. Now I want to look at people's feet.
100%.
Oh, my gosh.
I want to go for a run right now.
Yeah. Cal's assessing after. Dude, Justin, thank you so much for calling in, man. Gunnar's already saying, why isn't he here in person? So that will be our next request for you to come and have a seat with us and talk further. But thanks for everything, man.
Hey, it was great talking to you.
I really appreciate y'all having me on.
We'd love to have you.
Awesome.
Love to have you come by at some point. I mean, you don't need to sign it in blood right now, but we're gonna try and pin you down.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm in.
There we go. Love that, man.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
Crushing it up.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Yes, sir.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
It's actually nice not hearing you.
I know. Just do what
Oh
you're
my God,
doing.
are we married?
Amazing.
I'm looking for my next ex-wife. Actually, I think I got her.
Me and my
think
wife,
so?
Cal.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. We got to talk about that. Okay. Okay.
She's
So
the next caller.
yeah. So she's calling in. All right, quick break. Let's talk bags, you guys. Because if you're still dragging around the same old overstuffed backpack that ruins your gym aesthetic, well, you deserve better. Introducing the Easy Access Ranchero Backpack, which is the latest in YETI's lineup of tough as nails bags. This thing was made for people that actually move with a rip-zip opening and that tears wide open so you can grab what you need. And fast. No more digging around looking for lost treasure. And here's the kicker. It's got a vertical zipper so you can grab the gear at the bottom of your bag without unpacking your entire life. Your protein shaker will thank you. Whether you're commuting, climbing, lifting, or just trying to survive a rainy Tuesday, guys, the Ranchero's TuffSkin nylon shell and smart internal layout keeps your laptop dry, your shoes separate, and your stuff organized, which as a Virgo, I'm obsessed with. Get in, get out, and get going. Check it out at YETI.com or hit up a YETI retail store near you.
Dose.
Dose. Mini intro here. So this is Dose Congo. You're on with Cal Dietz, by the way. His gym Congo is family owned in Houston, Texas. Yep, I'm getting eyebrows from Gunnar. He's been working closely with tons of professional athletes. He's got a supplement line, also family owned. You're one of 6 kids, so I feel like you've already got you're already like got a winning team set up to like take on and conquer the world of fitness. And then a personal note, when we talked a few days ago to set up today's call, I called Dose, and he goes, hello? And I hear just like pounding on the pavement and him breathing really hard. He goes, I'm sprinting 3 miles right now. I didn't want to miss your call. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. So that's the kind of guy we got in the call. I felt really honored that you picked up my...
But hang on, he does that. He also does the crazy 4 a.m. VersaClimber workouts.
Yeah, you're an animal, man. But thanks for being on. You're sitting here with all of us here at the table, and you got Cal, and we're so glad you were able to make it.
Hell yeah, no, thank you guys. How pissed off is Gunnar right now with all the tech stuff?
Oh, you do know Gunnar.
Oh, I'm just sitting here.
He's probably just getting so pissed.
Well, I'll let you lead in, but I will say, Dose, you sent me a screenshot of your conversation with Gunnar over 8 years ago. And
2017.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you wanted to expand on it, just set the table a little bit with you guys. It wasn't that kind of DM, Gunnar. You're getting happy about the wrong thing.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. I really, really do appreciate it. And even before I get into that, I spoke with Jen. I was just saying how honored it is to be just welcomed on a platform like this, because I look at Gunnar as, one of the greatest to do it, and he's never wavered in what his friendship and business relationship with me is. And even your respect, Jen, what I've heard about you and things I've heard from Halima and what you are in the fitness industry. And then Cal, I don't know too much of you, and Gunnar's probably going to hate that, and I need to educate myself more because I was checking out some of your stuff. So it's definitely some stuff I need to educate myself on. But yeah, I was in LA and I just DM'd Gunnar because I loved, Rocky and Stallone, and Gunnar was one of those guys that got me into the fitness training. And ironically, I was out there training some NFL guys and shot my shot at them. I just DM'd him, hey man, I'm in town training some Broncos players. I'd love to come see you, meet with you, just, chop it up with you. And what turned into, he responded. It was awesome. He responded. I was so excited. And what turned into a 30-minute meeting, he gave me almost about 2.5, 3 hours of his day on a Friday. And that has turned into the friendship I have with him now. And I was telling Jen, I was like, well, without that DM and that conversation, Congo and my family probably never happens, because he was a big point in my life and guiding me through a lot of bullshit that I had to go through to get where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Dude, you earned all that. Also, I should tell you, you got Luke Milton here, the creator of Training Mate and former pro rugby player, and we both were on Chloe's show and stuff. He doesn't nobody likes to have that be the one thing you're known for, but it was a cool platform, and that's how I got to know Luke. But you earned that, man. You earned your spot. You came in, you crushed it with those guys in that gym. I'll never forget seeing you put it down with those guys. My other trainer was like, why are you letting another guy in here? I go, because the guy needs a break. He's got the NFL guys already coming. Like, you got to give him a place to ply his trade. Like, who are we to say no? It'll be weird times. It won't get in our way. It'll be great. And just to watch what you've done from when you were at your first spot, if I remember correctly, it was the Nines, and then you were in the Post Oak Tower, and then you did your own spot, and you've crushed it. And the fact that you bring your family along on everything. I've met, I think, 2 of your brothers and Halima, your sister, and it's awesome to see what you do. I don't know. It's like I say about certain people who we know, it's like, you guys are all the right things in fitness where the industry's going. It makes me feel good to know that you're out there doing it in a way that I think is inclusive and cohesive. I like seeing that.
Yeah, but I'll echo Dose's sentiment about you. You've got such a squishy, supportive center, Gunnar. Like, I mean, I showed the DM exchange to Luke just now, and it's like this random person DMs you. You don't know him, don't know anything about him. He, Dose gives us a brief explanation of who he is, and you're like, yeah, here's my cell phone number. Let's connect. Let's find the time. No hesitation. Immediately a servant to like the training community, wants to be there. And by the way, like Dose, you had to do the reps, you had to do everything, but like it takes someone believing first and helping first and kind of giving you some direction in the beginning, and that was Gunnar for you. I know he's that for me, so we definitely share that.
But bring it back to Arnold. I'm going to cut you off. Bring it back to Arnold. He makes a great point about there's no such thing as a self-made man, and I don't care if like a lot of guys have done a lot of things on their own, but nobody did all of it on their own. At some point, somebody gave you, whether it's a leg up, which is different from holding a door open or allowing you to open the door. There are different ways, but nobody does it by themselves. And if I can help somebody, like I know a lot of people from my parents to my brother to a long list of people gave me a shot. I think you have to do that. Pay it forward, pay it backward. You have to pay in.
Yeah, for sure. And Dose, it's Luke here, mate, and I think that you speak for all of us.
Oh, he knows it's you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The accent gives me away. Someone confused me for Jen once, but I corrected them. But it's, mate, congratulations on shooting your shot too, mate. I think that this, Gunnar's obviously extended that branch, that opportunity branch for so many of us within this industry, but you had to shoot your shot, and I think this is a really good message for so many people that just want to get better, is to actually reach out to people, the people that you maybe think are unattainable or you can't get to, and that's the whole point of this podcast, and having the genius that is Cal on here and Jen and Gunnar itself. That's the whole point of this industry, that we should all be opening doors or holding doors for the right people. And again, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, not the ones on Instagram spitting hate to everyone, but the people who genuinely care about other people, whether it's a professional athlete, general population people, or just your mum, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, that you would like to get them a little healthier and to create healthy lifestyles for others. Anyone that's in this industry for the right reason not only deserves people like ours time, but it's imperative to keep this industry moving in the direction in which we all want it to move.
Yeah, agree. Do you want to jump into your question for us?
Oh yeah. So some of the questions, I was thinking about, and I was checking out, Cal's page as well, and the topic of, he just mentioned too about Instagram and the Instagram people. When an athlete or whoever it is, most likely an athlete, for example, all these Achilles injuries that are happening, and like everybody is so quick to judge the trainer or the concept, and there's so much that goes behind it. So I think, one of the questions I have is, what are some of the things that, that can be prevented, on your behalf, and anybody can chime in on this high usage rate that you see of these Achilles injuries. And as a business professional, how do you go about it when you're being the one being attacked for your athlete's injury? Again, I'm bringing up the Achilles because that's the thing right now. Jason,
you can't see us. We're all laughing. We literally just talked about this for 20 minutes, so it's just ironic. No, that you're dialed into exactly where our head is right now. But I do think that your secondary part of that was like, how do you react as the practitioner is a really valuable response. So I feel like maybe we should just go there. Because we did cover the first half, but okay, let's say what's the guy's, like the NBA guy? I'm sorry.
Jason Tatum.
It's your athlete.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do. I have some exercises, if you look on my Instagram, that looks like they'll tear a hamstring off the bone, and my interns will post it. And then people just beat them up on social media, and it's Cal Dietz's methods, right? But me, I just don't care, right? So it is what it is, right?
That is such a superpower.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Right?
That's my superpower.
Well, I've heard, if I let that bother me, then I'm in their prison.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but that's not the right answer for everybody. So then, what you have to realize is everything's in context for me. Like that exercise they're showing, somebody has to spend 8 to 10 weeks of doing things before they get to that speed and level of what you're gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like day one, and then the hard part with injuries is we talked, it's so dynamic. Bones could be out of place, right? There could be bruises on the foot that caused the foot to not function correctly, that didn't allow, like in the game, these games, like they may have been rebounding and somebody heel came on the top of their foot. That literally shuts all those muscles supporting down. So there's no way the foot's going to absorb the force it should, because it's really a spring if you look at it, right? And then the calf's got more pressure. They do that back step and bam, there it is, right? I mean, we got hamstring problems. We got dehydration that could have caused it. You just don't know. And you could have caused dehydration in that limb, because even though they're well hydrated by their nutritionist, what if the blood flow that day? I've seen blood flow change in limbs with systems that I've been able to. So the point is it's so dynamic. In the blood flow, I've even seen change because of concussions on the one side of the brain. So you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like some limbs on the opposite side of the concussion they had in their brain seems to have less blood flow. So that at the end of a game, that guy might now be dehydrated because he just hasn't had the blood flow in that leg. You just don't know.
So hold on. So he could have been hydrated, meaning he ingested what he needed, whatever, but the body is not shuttling it, shunting it, sending it where it needs to go. So he is in fact
dehydrated in that muscle.
Yeah, and Dose, just going back onto that as well, I know Cal, works in the preventative sort of, methodology of that stuff too, and what Gunnar just said about his superpowers really not caring. Like from a commercial standpoint as well, you're in the private sector, that is actually good advice. Just not caring about what fat finger Phil is typing on his mum's keyboard, right? It can't impact your ability to deliver a program to people needing your services, because you got to pay the rent, you got to pay your mortgage, you got to put food on the table for your family as well. So know that someone else's criticism of you can't have the consequence of you not being able to do what you do as a provider or as a capitalist or as a private sector entrepreneur. Mate, don't worry about what anyone else says, because there's a science to something, and what we spoke about before, there's also 3 million nuances. And you know what? If you're wrong, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? It's just move on, get on with it, and keep providing the service for people, because that's what you do. So I think what Cal just said about you can't, or that you don't care about other people's opinion, but you can't actually have that. I think that's probably the best advice we've heard today. Don't let anyone else's opinion of you dictate the opinion that you have of yourself.
But I would say that you got to go both ways on that. If we're speaking in the Instagram instance, you got to not care what they write, and you got to put out what you want to put out.
Yeah.
Don't put out, my dad used to tell us, don't spend your life trying to look around corners. Don't try to put out what you think they want to see. Put out what you want to put out, and what comes back from that is what comes back. Don't let that bother you, and don't let, God, speaking of Stallone, I know you're a big fan. He once told me on a script we were talking about, it might have been Rocky Balboa or something. He was talking about shooting different endings. But he shot different endings not to get like a test audience's approval or vote. Yeah. He shot them for him. And he said, I don't do the ending based on what I think the audience wants. I don't try to guess that. I do the ending because I'm writing the script. I do the ending based on how I want the movie to end. And I would say for your Instagram, and I have shit engagement on Instagram, but I also don't put out my Instagram for anybody but me. Mm-hmm. And I do some fun stuff with the guys I work with. We have a good laugh. That's for us. If people like it, cool. If they don't, keep scrolling, unfollow, do whatever you got to do. No animosity. I'm not spending any energy on that. Just like I'm not reading the comments. I don't care what is.
You're a big post and ghoster, aren't you?
Post and ghost, yeah. Because I don't want to have to engage on that level. I don't want to have to explain what you didn't understand about my silly or what I thought to be informative post. I'm not posting for those reasons. I'm using that as what I think it was initially designed for. I think it's a fun way to keep in touch with people. I forward you guys stuff.
Yeah.
To me, it's a fun way to stay connected in a world where it's easy to be on your own. Yeah. And I don't think as humans that's what we're really meant to do.
Yeah.
Love that.
You guys, if you don't mind me asking, what's everybody's age?
I'm 42.
21.
Okay.
No, I'm 43.
I'm 85.
I'm 52.
Okay, so.
How old are you?
34.
Okay.
Oh, wait. So you reached out to Gunnar. You had the initiative to reach out to him when you were 25, 26? And you were training NFL guys at 25, 26? Mazel tov, baby. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually, when I was 23, I was the head. So 23, I was the head trainer. I was training half of the Houston Texans roster at the time in 2013. So I'm not saying I was I was knowledgeable, but I had to really learn a lot on the fly too, because my situation was different. I was supposed to learn a lot more before I got the keys thrown at me, but sometimes the keys just get thrown at you, and I just had to be a bull and just figure things out and maneuver. But yeah, that's why that's why Gunnar's a pretty prominent person. I asked the age thing because here I am, I'm 34, and I brought up how you guys said don't give a fuck, right? But it's hard when this generation, because I'm 34, and now you're getting a little younger generation with Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff, and I bring up an injury like this, and we talked about how Gunnar had the door open and we're supposed to all help each other. When a situation or an injury like this happens, you get trainers on social media. Again, I know, don't give a fuck, but you get trainers on social media posting your client and their workout video, whatever it is, and them in a backdrop saying, this is why you should have done this exercise. This is why this could have been prevented. And it just pisses me off because you're shitting on the trainer, you're shitting on the brotherhood, and you're just popping yourself and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So that's why I asked about the age, because this Instagram, TikTok, and new world of trainers and clients, the respect and knowledge.
But understand they're trying to increase their status off the back of your hard work, and you have to be able to differentiate those two things.
Yeah, but he's saying it's pissing him off.
No,
he agrees with you.
Yeah, no. I totally understand. I just think that it is something that you just have to silence, because you're never ever going to take out a human being's nature to take a shortcut, and that's all those comments are. They didn't do the work. They couldn't get the clients. They weren't. They didn't have the initiative at 25 years old to reach out to one of the greatest trainers ever. They didn't have the initiative to make this call today and to try and pick the brains of said experts in this field. They're not on this podcast, mate. You are, and it's because you had the initiative to go and get off your ass and do something, and not just try and increase your status from hating on someone else from doing it. And that's just the biggest thing. I understand that it is the currency of the next generation. I played professional sports myself, and I remember the first time I read about how bad of a player I was when I was 19. Mate, it affected me. I then went and played 10 bad games until I realised that if I keep letting someone else's opinion of me, which is totally irrelevant, impact my preparation and my psyche, then I am going to lose my career. Don't let them cost you your career. Don't listen to them. They're irrelevant morons, and just get on with it.
Yeah, you know what, though? Like, the irony is, I set my interns down and said, look, whatever thing I think I've done the best, I know it well enough that I actually can rip on my own thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So even my best product, whatever it is, and it might be the goat drill, it might be triphasic, whatever I do, I can rip apart triphasic on its weakest links. Yeah. So and when you do it, so I'm just telling you, there's nothing on the internet that I couldn't rip, and it might be the best thing going. I think I have enough background, enough knowledge now, just to tear things apart. If I was a hater, right? Of course you do.
Yeah, of course. I can look back at a program I wrote 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Why did I do that? God, I should have tweaked that. Even sometimes it happens mid training. I'm with somebody and I go, why do I have them here? I should have done this. I should have followed this with this. That was a perfect pre-exhaust to build in. I should have put him on this. That's where his weakness is. That's what I should have pushed him on. And I go, what? Why was I thinking that?
Are you saying though you should be like Eminem in 8 Mile and get out in front of it, or are you saying that you're just confident enough?
No, I'm saying I look back and go, I'm not going to go. It doesn't do me any good to go back and beat myself up about what I didn't do on a program on Thursday. I just know the next time I do it, I'm going to tweak it better. If you do your next book, if you incorporate triphasic, you'll tweak it a little bit and just improve it slightly.
Well, of course, but if I'm on it, and everything's like situation dependent. So the art of this whole thing, sure, there's science behind what we do, but the art of it is the coaching part and making the adjustments. You know what I mean? So we're in a profession where there's art and science. And we blend them, you know what I mean? And then psychological. I think psychological is kind of an art too, because you got to get to know your personnel. But ultimately, I don't care how good that was. I'm saying with this guy, it was perfect. The next guy, it's horrible for.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it doesn't. But on an Instagram person, like if I'm going to sit there on the interweb and talk about somebody's, I can make anything sound bad is what I'm saying. For a certain time and a certain point for a certain client, I can make anything sound bad, even my own good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah,
it's just so frustrating that this even exists.
Yeah. But so I guess then the answer to your question, Luke, is that it's like more, you already know what's wrong with it. So anything that says something is kind of, it's irrelevant because you already know it's there.
Josh, you got to look at this. You weren't on earlier when Cal talked about having an athlete who's traded with him for 16 seasons and just signed another 2 to 3 season deal. I forget which, and he may end up having the guy for 18, 19 years. To talk about, like, that guy stays with you, Cal, no disrespect to your programming. That guy stays with you for who you are as a person, for your personality. We're way past the science part of it. Yeah. Like, we take that for granted. It's we know, we figured out, you know what you're doing with the programming. He's staying with you because you're good to be around. You're good for him, and you're filling a lot of his cups in that way.
Yeah. Right?
So dose for you. The guy's trashing a program or talking shit about a movement or a sequence, blah, 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 blah. That guy who you filmed doing it is coming back tomorrow. Yeah. And if he reads that and leaves because somebody in the shadows writes a snarky comment, yeah, okay, don't worry about it. Bye. Mm-hmm. There's another one coming. 8.5 billion people on the planet. Relax.
Yeah, he probably needs a hug, the other guy. You know what I mean? They're just such haters.
Yeah.
So.
It's a different world we live in right now.
Oh boy!
I was talking. Well, Jen, I heard Jen had a knee hyperextension at Gunnar's gym. Is that what happened? Correct?
Well, yeah, it was well, Cal's going to actually test my ACL, but yeah, it was a little injury, but I'm good now.
Okay, I bring that up because I think Gunnar knows this. I want to bring this up. So, Cal and Luke, I do not have an ACL or meniscus in my left knee. I tore it in 2008, and it's going to be a two-fold question here. Tore in 2008. I rehabbed it. They did at the time, it was like some new technology. They called it a Dumbbell Bundle hamstring. And I came back in 6 months. I partially tore it my first game back in football. And then I tried playing with it, and I completely tore it, and my meniscus. And I was very heavy. I was just only doing squats and deadlifts, just a typical high school program, right? And so to this day, I do not have an ACL or meniscus in my left knee. Jen was talking about her knee. So a couple things I have for you guys is I'm seeing this new knee sleeve, anaconda sleeve or whatever, for people like myself who got bad ACLs or no ACLs. What's your guys' thoughts on the ACL graft, if like scar tissue can actually grow back? And if people are getting these non-contact injuries, I know there's stuff in our field that we can do to prevent that, but are you guys on the surgical side in the sense of knowledge of what you would recommend for people who get those ACL surgeries, especially for elite athletes or kids or people growing up? Because my older brother, he tore his ACL and they put a cadaver graft in them, and everything I was told is, like, if you have a young athlete, you should never put a cadaver in a young aspiring athlete.
I defer to Cal on this.
I would agree with the cadaver in the young athlete. I think there's just a little bit more risk there, but I would have to default to get multiple opinions. I'm saying 3 maybe, just to be safe, right? Because I've seen it go either way, and just because a doctor does ACLs, and there's been mistakes. I've seen top-notch doctors make mistakes. Mm-hmm. They don't want to admit it, but they have made mistakes. So all I would say is just get your opinion. I guess I can't. It has to be independent or individualized again, but get your opinion from, I would say, 3 doctors to be safe. That's what I would offer.
I hate to make you go, Dose. We got to wrap up and get Cal out of here. But I'm so grateful you called in. We're smiling big at just the sound of your voice and getting to talk to you and get to know you more.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys, and sorry for my voice.
Yeah,
I lost it Saturday.
He was cheering all weekend.
So I'm grateful to be on. I appreciate all you guys, and anybody who are pioneers in the industry and they want to associate with me and finally have the respect to be a part of that circle means a lot to me.
You're a legend, Dose. Thanks, mate.
Thank you,
You can
sir.
hear it in your voice.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being
buddy.
here. Love it. We'll get you out here in
Thank you, guys.
You're
person.
the best. See you. By the way, great suggestions, Gunnar. Both those guys are
Good dudes,
they kinda
solid
come through.
dudes.
You've known them
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Passionate.
I kind of want to end with a question that was sent in from Stephanie Grubbs,
Yeah,
Stephanie Mock,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
remember
yeah,
now
I
Grubbs, to kind of maybe end the conversation because it was actually a really great one regarding triphasic.
Yeah.
So for anybody that doesn't quite know who Stephanie is, she's a Major League Baseball strength and conditioning coach for the Houston Astros. She was hoping to call in, but she had a game today. And I'm really happy to point out she's the first female coach for the Astros. So they made that step towards
She also
that.
spoke at Summer Strong.
She spoke at, that's where we met her.
Numerous
Yep.
colleges. She's
Yeah.
been all.
She's been in the system for quite a while. Yeah. Anyway, so here's her question: what has been the biggest change or revelation you've had since the beginning of triphasic until now, and what would you see as the biggest evolution of the program? So revelation and evolution.
You know what? So triphasic is really a taxing program, especially if you read the first book. I did sets of eccentric loading for 25 and 30 seconds in isometrics, right? That was killer. And what I was able to do is, long story short, I was really focused on the alactic system. So I cut all my sets down to 10 seconds. And what it did was prevented a lot more, it prevented the cortisol release that I got with the 30-second sets. So instead of like doing 3 sets of 30 second with the isos or the eccentrics, I would do 5 sets of the 10 seconds. And I actually got better results. But I believe is because I stayed in the alactic short sprint system.
What were the rest periods?
As much as you want, 2 to 3 minutes. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, I never went into glycolysis, which then what follows after you do 30 seconds of something really hard is the cortisol goes through the roof. So we found, because the hockey guys have this thing, they get skinny fat at the end of the year. Like you see them at the end of the year, they have all this cortisol fat stored right here. Huh. Right, and they're lean in their backs, they're lean all over. They call it skinny fat. Well, it's because the season has beat them up, and they're doing 30-second, 40-second, 50-second shifts. Well, cortisol's beat them to death. So then I'm like, they don't need any more cortisol. I'm going to do all my sets under 10 seconds. That year we got phenomenal results. Right, so that was the biggest change I think that I've made, and was still able to, because you know the old thinking of, hey, I'm going to work them hard, and 30-second sets heck of a lot harder than a 10-second set.
Yeah.
Right? But I got greater results for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So then,
that's really neat.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, honestly, you know, I think I do a number of things to the best athletes I've ever coached, and I've tested this, they relax their muscles faster than everyone else. So like the Soviets found the Olympic champions relax their muscles faster than the rest of the people on the Olympic team. So
relaxing faster in order to recontract.
Yes, recontract and just be highly coordinated. Because if you're going to run and you need your quad and the hamstrings carrying tension, that's not good. And then we all know that quad can't get a full contraction if the hamstring has too much tension in it. So when you see Michael Jordan fly and move, I'm telling you, his muscles relaxed faster than everybody on the court.
Oh, yeah.
And it does it very fast. It's not like it's a slow thing. It is a high-speed thing. And even a couch potato and Usain Bolt, their contraction speeds aren't that much different. But the speed at which it relaxes is 200 to 300% probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Post-firing, not post-set, not post-workout.
No, we're talking the instant, right? And I tell people, like, one of my best females, she'll be a 4-time Olympian, 7-time world champ. When she moves, it's like a violent ballerina. Like it looks violent, but it's smooth. And she can move as fast as my NHL guys on some of the movements.
So interesting. I used to have a lot of coaches and GMs before I worked in the NBA. I used to call it the mistress trainer, right? I was the one. I had 20 guys every off season, and what you always heard. And again, it's just going to come down to semantics. But what you always heard was, I want it to be more explosive. So what, if I'm understanding you, is, well, we're all X degrees of explosive. Let's not worry about that. We're splitting hairs at the explosive level. What you want him to be is less explosive when he doesn't need to explode.
Right.
You want him to unexplode faster. right?
Because then you can redo it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes.
Yes.
I get
and
that.
But it is
Yeah.
a skill. It's a highly coordinated skill.
But I'm saying, so
Yes.
instead of
You're right.
always working on first step quickness, lateral explosiveness, have him work on quickness and then relaxing it.
Yeah, relaxation.
Interesting. So if you can nutshell that for us, how do you train that?
So I know if they're stressed globally, like across the whole body,
Yeah.
so breathing is very important.
Right, breath work, right.
So if they can control their breathing, I have the GOAT drill, which is a drill I developed. It's kind of a figure eight, and if you want to look up GOAT performance drill by Cal Dietz, I have a lot of people doing this. I see it before an NFL game, guys doing it, but they just do a figure eight, and what it is the right and left brain. It actually connects them. This wasn't originally developed by me, but I just modified it into this. And if the right and left brains are talking, then the entire body can relax and is optimized. They found behavioral kids with this, not my drill, but it was originally called the Infinity Walk by a doctor out of Buffalo, New York. The behavioral kids got, like, when their brain connected, they caused less problems in class, like the coordination, right? I had one of my buddies had his daughter do this while she played her video game. First game went well. Second game, she doubled her old high score. So then, and another friend had same daughter, like 9, was really uncoordinated. 2 great parent athletes started doing this drill. Guess what? 6 weeks later, it clicked. Became very, very athletic.
Hey, so at the Lakers, one of the things they have you do for the combine stuff is the shuttle sprints, right? The sprints.
Yeah.
And I go, it doesn't really apply. Nobody runs like that. It's very rare that it's a straight out sprint.
Right.
So I had us running these drills, and they're like, what are you doing? That's not what's measured at the combine. I go, I'm not worried about what's measured at the combine. The speed's going to be the speed. I don't want to just keep training them running sprints to have them run a timed sprint. Right. Like, there's other ways to train it. To train around the fringes. Don't always train straight down the middle. Instead of just having these.
And then you could see the athleticism in the athletic ones, couldn't you?
For sure. And
yes.
But also, that's way more. If you watch guys on the court running, they're running like this. They are doing more weaves, right? They're going around people. They're setting picks. They're setting screens. They're moving like this versus just A to B.
Yeah.
So it seemed more logical to me. I didn't have your explanation about right brain, left brain, but I'm seeing that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of the relaxation principle would you put down to genetics compared to what we're talking about here? Like, how big of a
because he's calling it a skill, but
how big of an improvement can you make through training mechanisms?
Well, I think genetics obviously is a factor, but I think too, if you look at it, environment growing up. So your ability to control your body as a young kid playing, the more you play, I think the better you'll be at all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no question, right? And the more you play, like, one of my greatest athletes, a few of them, when you talk to them about their childhood, they played. Like, the one guy, he said, I throw right-handed and then I threw left-handed, right? But he was always playing, riding bikes, doing all these things, would climb, and they never stopped, right? So, and then and then I think there's some other things, like, one was forced to be one of my greatest athletes, Paul Martin. He's greatest, when I say that, just athleticism-wise. He played in the NHL like 14 years. He could shoot threes right and left-handed.
Wow.
Yeah, in basketball, which is not the sport hockey players play, right? So, but the point is there was one point where he was forced, when he broke his arm, was forced to use the opposite arm, and he got really good at it really quick. Now, he was a good athlete, obviously, but you're going, that might have been the tipping point when he started developing, because now he's forced to use the opposite arm that he never used before.
But all the different movements in sport, I mean, it's like early onset cross training, right?
Yes.
Like, my wife was worried. My son came back. He was at camp for a month just recently, and he came back and he had to go to soccer practice. And she goes, he hasn't played soccer. All these kids, like half these kids, they're already locked into one sport and one sport-specific training modality. And I go, baby's 9. Like, he's done sailing, basketball, soccer, scavenger hunting. Yeah. He's done all these other things. I go, all those movements are going to lend to soccer.
Yeah.
I go, I'm not saying he's going to come back better than he was, but I don't think the fall off from a month of doing, it's not like he was inactive. He was hyperactive, right?
Like playing, climbing, running around.
Correct. All the things Cal just mentioned. He's doing all that stuff. I think that will serve him at this age as much when he returns to his one sport, whether that ends up being soccer or not, than just focusing on the sport and risking burnout.
Yeah. And I think the more dynamic you are, the higher your ceiling becomes later.
Yes.
That's the way to look at
Totally.
it. Yes. So.
Dude,
So.
Cal, I need like 2 more hours.
Oh, I could keep going for another.
I get that you have to
So
leave,
many
but if you don't
questions
mind, just leave your brain here. Dude.
You can bottle it up, or they've tried to throw it out.
I want to be on
right?
record saying
Yeah.
Gunnar's never asked the same of me.
No.
Well,
No.
well, maybe we can do the ACL test at some point before
Oh
we
yeah,
leave.
no,
We'll go to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was amazing, Cal. I love you. Thank you for always being down
Yeah,
for
I love you, dude.
our
Love
project.
you.
We
Love that you do
truly
this.
love
Very
you.
cool.
And guys, like you heard it today, we love when our other peers and coaches and trainers call in, ask questions, and be a part of these conversations. So please continue to slide into Gunnar's DM, but Luke and I love it too. Let us know what's on your mind. Let us know what you're going through, and we'd love to have you on. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us at the kids' table.
Like, subscribe.
Thanks, guys. Like, subscribe.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. The positive comments, as we've discussed today.
Yes, that's what we want.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Cal.
Well, you survived another episode. Congratulations.
Now go and follow the show, subscribe to the show, like the show, comment on the show, download the show, leave a 5-star review for the show, or any review really. We'll take what we can get.
Okay, Luke, they get it. This was the kids' table. See you next recess.